All right, welcome back to Modern Mondays at Guardian Games. We have our fourth and final round of the night online. I'm joined here tonight by.
I don't get a superlative.
I am still working on the superlative part of things.
I kind of just wing it every time. Uh, okay, I'm Travis Cooper. We're Portland Paper. We're at Guardian Games. It is round four of four, the finals. Our XO matchup at the top of the charts.
They are not splitting. We checked beforehand.
Yeah,
That's the requirement.
we try not to, well, I feel like there's sometimes some backhand things that might happen. Sports is always a little bit corrupt, but we try to pick the top table that doesn't split so that, there's some marbles.
Oh, yeah. Got to be some marbles on the line. We were asked if this is a slow game, we'll talk about the kind of coronavirus stuff in Portland, but we'll talk about the game while it's happening and then hit that in between.
So this is a fun matchup. This is like classic. We get blue-white control versus Jund, both decks that are trying to two-for-one the opponents. Play some mid-range games. Have a decent late game. We got like Cryptic Commands, Liliana the Veils, Rin and Sixes. Uh, Seems sweet.
This is like one of those tale as old as time matchups.
I love it. It's fun to play on either side of the table. There's really swingy cards if you're both top decking. Like you can have, big threat, big answer, and yeah, just fun magic. Don't cry, chat. I've just been reading a lot of people like, oh man, Once Upon a Time is banned. Like now Infect isn't a deck, or Four Color Shadow isn't a deck, or like what am I gonna do when I'm playing elves? And just play the deck that has maybe a card that's not quite as good free, but it's still the same deck.
Did you cut a land to put Once Upon a Time in there? Add the land back in. Did you cut some creatures? Add a couple creatures.
Uh,
And then you're back. Did you really want to play a fun creature, but you felt like you couldn't because Once Upon a Time was in your deck? Add that fun creature back in there.
yeah.
Have a good time.
Ooh.
All right.
It's kind of Narset's an easy choice here. Um, Jace can be problematic for Jund, but Jund does have a lot of answers for Jace, like Lightning Bolt if we're just going to brainstorm for Martin. But unless we're going to be able to, who went first in this matchup? I was too busy chatting.
Martin went first.
Okay.
So Martin will get a chance at playing the Narset if it's left.
Yeah, kind of like you're playing the 2-for-1 attrition game. Narset is like an easy 2-for-1, so that's what I would take.
It's true, but Nat does have a Ren in hand that I'm sure he wants to resolve. And uh, he's kind of just pushing Martin. Martin's just going to end up holding up 3 mana next turn.
Yeah, then you just play a creature.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And there's no Rin and 6 is just really strong in this matchup in particular, like in the late game, and you don't super need it in the early game.
Right.
You're not trying to like ping down creatures that I feel like you can sort of, have last card standing situation.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Or maybe have another hand disruption spell to follow up with. So oh, I love these matchups. Like the decisions are so interesting, especially when you have hand disruption involved.
For sure.
Is the virus a big deal over here? Kind of, but I don't. It's like I my like my less than a minute long take is that everyone is going to end up getting the virus. They're probably just trying to make it slower for the pandemic to happen, so that our resources aren't overwhelmed. You can't find hand sanitizer. Toilet paper is running a little bit low. You can get food. My life hasn't really been affected in a significant way, and the Trailblazers are still playing at the Rose Quarter, which is now called the Moda Center.
Also, hot take. if you expect that everybody's going to get it, then you want to get it early while healthcare services aren't overwhelmed, so that you can get care before everybody gets it, and then services are overwhelmed. So maybe maybe don't quote me on this. No, no, I was going to say maybe people should be out there getting coronavirus. No, that's not true.
Uh, I do think we're all going to end up getting it, and I think that the
Probably.
mortality rate is much lower than what's being reported in the media because I feel like tons more people actually have it than are getting tested for it. Yeah, I'm more worried about hysteria than about actually like getting sick. I have a friend that I haven't interacted with in several weeks that's self-quarantining and had 104 fever is now fine. Um, but I do, the old people, I worry about them.
Yeah.
Nat, if you're watching this, I'm
Oh.
kidding. Nat's my landlord, who happens to be on camera right now, who's a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
I once had to tie a knot on his fly when we were fly fishing because he forgot his glasses.
Oh. I that's not the first thing I think of when you say fly. I definitely think of a different fly.
It's the eyes of youth over here.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Ooh,
Wow.
what does that say?
I don't know what that says. I was almost 100% positive that Nat was going to run out of Blood Braid Elf. Um,
We shocked in an overgrown tomb and passed the turn. Maybe that's a Kolaghan's command plus something else. I don't know what the something else is though.
maybe
Maybe
it's
bolts.
some really sneaky bluff where Nat's like you're playing control, so you shock in lands to pretend you have like interaction on my turn. So how does it feel when I do it? That are you on board with that? You think that's a smart?
I feel
Is
like
that
there
a
had to.
smart plan?
No, I don't feel like
Oh,
that's a
okay.
smart plan. But I feel like there's a reason.
Probably. I honestly can't.
So Martin's kind of fine with this draw go game. Basically, Nat's maybe trying to double spell on a turn. That could be what's happening here. But Martin's going to take the bait and maybe cast a Jace, maybe not. Can I read Raging Ravine? Yes, it gets larger. It will not kill a Jace if you plus it, but if you just zero, it definitely will.
But it's got the coolest art, so don't kill it, please.
Raging Ravine is Ian's favorite creature land. I think Creeping Tar Pit is mine, even though I don't play it much anymore.
Yeah. It's so cool. I do love Mishra's Factory, especially the true
Uh,
OG arts, like the Winter Factory. I think is, and even Summer and Spring. Just all the arts for Factory are gorgeous, but I think I like Ravine a little better.
I would like to see an instep spell here so that Martin won't be able to force of negation if we have a Kolaghan's Command or a Lightning Bolt. And I would like to see one of those, which I would be curious why in the previous turns he would have shocked an Overgrown Tomb if you don't have something like that.
Yeah. Is Factory Modern legal? It has a newer printing, but I can't remember if it's like from a Commander product or something. Or maybe like Eternal Masters or something. I think it's probably not.
Oh, Kevin's hanging out for the end of Modern Mondays here.
Stopping by to say hi. Well, Kevin, you've stepped into a great matchup.
Yeah, we got Nats in the tank here. We got a Jace that resolved at plus. We got some Raging Ravines. We didn't even. I like the not even bluffing. Or actually, I don't. I take it back. That was sarcastic. I would have bluffed having a Path to Exile and left a White Source up.
Whew. So we've Thoughtseize. So Ravine, I guess the land drop is still available. So Ravine is possibly on the board. Jace is at 5 though, so mm, is it? I feel like we take Cryptic for
Yeah.
sure. And then if there's a Bloodbraid Elf, I definitely want to see. I want to see Bloodbraid run out here. Otherwise, I guess you're trying to double spell, so maybe you play something.
Okay, it looks like there was a Maelstrom Pulse. If that's the case, I kind of would have liked taking. Depends what it depends what Nat's next play is. What I would have liked taking or not.
Yeah. Ooh, I like this. So we're leaving up mana for Ren and 6 here. So Trophy potentially baits the Force, and then Nat can run out the Ren and 6.
Is it that good? It's something.
What's that?
I
I like.
kind I would have I probably would have baited the trophy really and played Rin and Six first.
Hmm.
Just because I mean that Jace is so good. Like if you get to start brainstorming,
It is good. I mean,
like you win by drawing more cards than the opponent in this matchup, and I'd rather brainstorm each turn than put a land back in my hand.
yeah. I mean, the Raging Ravine's gonna potentially be a. I mean, I guess Martin can just grab a path or something for the ravine, and currently it is taken care of by the field. All right, I think that's fair. Yeah, maybe Jace is good enough that the Ren is.
I love that we're in 2020 and you're like, maybe Jace is good enough that you want to remove it instead of playing a card that puts a land back in your hand every turn. A card that was banned for like 5 years in Modern is maybe that good.
Well, Ren is banned in Legacy, Travis.
uh, yes, two planeswalkers that are on or have seen the ban list.
Yeah, I guess Jace is the better one to have available.
100%.
Uh,
Don't tap the. Wait, what? What are you doing?
yeah, what?
Unless this is a big Teferi. Okay, that's it. I accept this mana tapping.
But didn't we got Cryptic back, right? So we're still only going to be able to untap.
Yeah, you can kill a Raging Ravine.
Okay. Okay.
Jace is on 5. You got a Teferi and a Jace against a Ren and 6. I'm putting my money on Martin.
I wish you guys could have seen that. Travis just goes, you heard it. I'm putting my money on Martin. Picks up his phone and is like, this game's over.
I got a text message. We have a house guest. I want to make sure they didn't get locked out.
No, you just slam down your dollar bills on the blue white control player and you wrote Nat out of this game.
It would take a lot. Those are two planeswalkers that say draw a card.
There's a convoluted way you can make Ren and 6 say draw a card. Hmm. It's a standoff.
Yeah, Ren and 6 always draws cards, it's true. And it's really good if you mulligan or in the early game or if you have like a cycling land or one of the New Horizons lands. But if you're just putting a fetch back in your hand and we're on like turn 7,
I think Nat has a Murderous Rider. I
Nat's
think
been a
Nat's got a Murderous
huge
Rider,
proponent for Murderous Rider.
which is huge here. So,
Who?
uh, we will Nat wording. So you didn't Murderous Rider Teferi. You used Swift. Is it Swift End?
Yeah, Swift End and then Murderous Rider.
Swift
So
Ended.
Teferi did meet a Swift End the turn after it was played. Probably
Yes.
didn't see that one coming.
So I actually don't want to see, unless Martin can get this Ren off the board permanently. I was kind of didn't want to see the field use that turn because um, the ravine is a lot harder for Martin to deal with without a Field of Ruin, and Nat will now be able to plus Ren to get the ravine back.
Yeah, I kind of want to have Nat dump some mana into that before you use
Yes.
Field of Ruin. Plus, you're getting
Yeah.
untaps with the fairy
Right.
each turn, or
Right.
not anymore, but ooh, too soon, too soon.
Yeah. It's a fairy meta, Swift End. But, admittedly, like, in Nat's defense, it didn't feel like a lot of cards were going to get Nat anywhere close to out of that situation, and Murderous Rider with Swift End looked very good.
I still think Azorius Control has the advantage here. Brainstorm?
That's fine. You're gonna say that even when Nat has like 12 things on the board and 3 planeswalkers, you're gonna be like, well, Azorius Control can draw like a cryptic command, and
Yeah, well, we have 2 Cryptic Commands in hand, and I'm sure there's some Mystic Sanctuaries hanging out left in the deck, maybe?
we're a little pinched on mana here. We're at 7 instead of 8.
Do we have... I know we put back a land. Play a land.
I think land drop was already played for turn.
Huh. You definitely don't want to play... You don't want to play your land drop before you Jace.
Yeah. So I want to see Nat just like you've made it to main phase, uptick to get this Raging Ravine back.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to give your opponent an opportunity to do something that involves, like, shenanigans.
Yeah, counterbalance. Like I don't want to let that happen.
We played a land for the turn?
I don't I don't like this by Nat. I feel like we could have gotten a land that's more useful. Like additional fetches. You've got a ton of mana if you're on that side. I think even Martin's a little surprised. Yeah.
Like, oh, I would have got that creature land. It looks pretty
Yeah.
good. Ooh, I don't like that either. I don't know. Now you open yourself up to a lightning bolt if your only other spell is cryptic. And you can't loop cryptics. So, like, if you didn't bounce draw the Rin and 6, you could have played a fetch land, cast Cryptic Command, and then you're able to, like, fetch to put another, put Cryptic back on top. But, sequencing. You kind of got some riches when you're brainstorming. And I think we have a little guy or big guy? Little guy. You don't want to bounce the Murderous Rider.
No, it's kind of funny actually. Murderous Rider's doing some decent work out here. Jace is gonna have to actually be wary of the Murderous Rider here shortly. I think down at what 3 currently.
Well, if Murderous Rider attacks Jace and then we get to resolve a Rin and 6, then Rin and 6 combine us to
Yeah, it's
kick it
true.
off.
So we're fetching again if we're Nat. Ooh, so I think Nat only has some basics left. Yeah. So Ren and 6, if Nat can't find something like a Nurturing Peatland or a Barrenmoor, Ren and 6's value is going to kind of quickly diminish until it can ult. That does come into play tapped, so we will make sure if it matters, we'll remind Nat that that is tapped. There we go. This is almost 100% bait.
Yeah, I don't counter draw this because you can bounce it with the fairy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely.
And I guess, is there not another Mystic Sanctuary in the deck? Because before I countered, and I would have wanted to fetch for a Mystic Sanctuary to put Cryptic on top.
Yeah, I feel like we need to see like a Force of Negation here. Or else, yeah, Ren minus to kill Jace is 100% what I'm doing. And it looks like it's lands and a mana leak in hand.
Huh. Yeah, so these are interesting games because each deck is, like, very efficient at the thing that it's doing. and you really have to think about how you use mana and sequence your spells, and use your even each ability on the planeswalker is a resource that you have to use. Where like in a situation like that, if my opponent casts a Tarmogoyf and I have uh, a Teferi that's at 5, I'm probably going to want to just have some value with that Teferi to bounce to get a card. So I'll let the Goyf resolve because I know I'll be able to bounce it and draw a card the next turn. And then you're playing Wraths in your deck. You're playing other removal spells. So give yourself a chance to draw the 2-for-1, maybe.
And of note, especially when we watch matches like these with a ton of micro decisions, it's very easy to watch from on high and see both players' hands and feel like you have, like, oh, why would the player not make this line or that line? And when you're actually down in the trenches playing the matchup, it feels can feel completely different. So
And especially when you're playing really grindy decks, and part of what you're playing with is the clock, where you have to value like how much is time does this decision warrant? Like maybe I'll make a suboptimal play, but it doesn't really matter that much over the course of the whole match. But if I spend too much time thinking about it, then it's going to eat away my clock, and that is going to matter. So there's a lot of just being able to pinpoint what are like where does this match matter? Where's the bottleneck? And that's what I need to spend my time on.
but it feels like we're in a moment where any suboptimal play can actually get punished pretty strongly. Like we are in that kind of like really like on the fulcrum of the match, where nobody's accrued enough advantage in one way or another where making a suboptimal play is going to feel good or might, it has a greater chance of resulting in being punished. I have found it interesting that Nat has kind of usually attacked before using the Ren and Six. And I think my natural inclination is oftentimes if I'm not planning on like drawing cards or doing something that's going to make Ren Sixes plus better, then I'm usually inclined to just use the Ren and Six beforehand. But maybe Nat's worried about something like a Snapcaster and just wants to have the Ren available to kill the Snapcaster.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there you see a Snapcaster. Yeah, Nat's done a really great job at sort of. I feel when you're playing against blue counterspell decks, and you have a lot of mana, you've got a lot of cards in hand, or even in the early turns, you have like different threats that you want to play. You kind of want to figure out, like, think about what counters your opponents can have, like how you value your threats, run out stuff early that you don't care that much about, and just like save the best cards for the end. Scoos is pretty good when you're playing against Mystic Sanctuary and Snapcaster. Even though Tarmogoyf is like beefy, it just attacks. But like Scoos has some agency in like multiple zones of the game.
Absolutely.
You're eating some stuff.
Oh, you want to eat Teferi, or sorry, you want to eat Snapcaster.
I'm going after spells first. I don't really care about Snapcaster, right?
You think so?
You,
Because like Snap.
you never get Snapcaster back.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's kind of once planeswalkers and creatures
And I
go into.
believe Murderous Rider should shuffle into
Yeah, I'm gonna
library
grab
here.
that one. Murderous Rider. Murderous Rider goes on the bottom net. Yeah.
Goes into the bottom, yeah.
Or shuffles? It might shuffle.
Goes to the bottom. I think it goes to the bottom. We can take a quick look. Chat also says it goes to the bottom. Thanks, Matthew Dennis MTG, for the subscription with the old free Mox Opal. Yeah,
We could have our icons
it's
be
free
like
in Legacy.
all the cards that are banned in Modern for
Yeah.
however long. Like if you've subbed to chat long enough that this card was legal and it's not anymore.
Yep, bottom of library.
I do really like that art, and that I'm not a super big fan of like how Magic's gone all Yu-Gi-Oh lately. But there are some sweet adventure cards that I like a lot, and that's one that I like.
So, for everybody in chat, I did create a new emote. We now have a squeemote. I threatened to make a squeemote, and now we have a squeemote.
This is new to me. I didn't even know we had a Squeemote.
It's from Squeeze Embrace. It's a squee embracing. Uh, I think like Hannah Ship's Navigator's leg or something like that. That's our squeemote.
I do like Magic the Gathering, like colon the Purge.
Hmm.
That's a great idea. Oh, there goes Random 6. So this is when Colonnade can start taking over a game.
Yes.
You got a lot of mana there, Nat.
Yeah.
You got a Fireball in the deck?
Yeah, when the Raging Ravine just keeps getting tagged, it's a sad day.
What's the spell that's like the X damage Fireball that then if it X's like so much or more it can't be countered?
Ooh,
It was in Standard not that long ago. It was like a
yeah.
reprint from 2010 maybe?
Yes. I don't think Nat plays Ghost Quarter in this list. Banefire, there we go. Thanks, chat. Yeah, it would seem ludicrous to play Banefire in this deck, but, it kind of makes a degree of sense. So Nat's going to fire off a Swift End here. Martin's checking for amount of mana to see if Mana Leak is relevant. I think it is not relevant.
Or it may be if Snapcaster Logic Knot is relevant too.
But the one thing that Nat has done really well this game is get a lot of lands out of their deck.
Uh,
Oh.
hey, you have to fetch for Cryptic. You have to fetch for Cryptic. You tap the Flooded Strand.
It's okay.
You should call a judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I can start using this before attack. Okay. Let's say I did that and I can't attack. So that would
Yeah, I just asked them to call a judge out there because they already
Yeah.
drew a card and tapped a Flooded Strand. So that get. I'm not sure how the judge wants to resolve this
Right.
situation. Because what if you drew your last basic and then you can't fetch for a
Right.
basic? Or yeah.
yeah. So, but if it is in before attack step, so you could cast the colonnade to get it. That would work. That's I'm fine with that. We cast the cryptic command. Where is that? So the cryptic command, I put it back on top. So this is what I this was the board state. This was my hand. I play it. I did this, and this before attacks. I scry. This was the scry. Draw, and then I cast it. By tapping the place. Yeah, and so we're still at that phase. We haven't moved past it. I'm gonna. May I tap the Celestial Colonnade? Yes. Yeah, it seems fine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And I already drew for the cryptic thing.
Okay.
And I pass.
Okay. That
Yeah, so it
works.
looks like that fix is fine.
I think we oftentimes we encourage people to just call the judge in those situations. It's what would normally happen, and it just lets the players advocate for themselves in the situation and kind of figure things out to the best of their abilities here.
We're in game one, right?
Yes, this is game one.
Like, how long have I been in the booth today?
Nat's at the point where just
Just
we're
throwing cards
tossing out
out
the
there.
Liliana.
It's almost one of those things where you're like, maybe I should concede to,
Oh, I think you definitely concede.
if you're not.
Yeah, for sure. Martin has like a
Million cards.
handful of like 6 or 7 cards in hand, and like honestly, Liliana's not even very good here in any case. Like I don't even know if I play a card to deal with it if I'm Martin.
Yeah, I think I leave up mana. I think there was a Snapcaster in Martin's hand. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty fine with Liliana existing.
Well, that is one downside to Abrupt Decay over Assassin's Trophy is that you can't tag a Colonnade.
Yeah.
Man, you talked like a fucking colonnade. I'm assuming you didn't sandbag it.
I did that.
I pushed,
Yeah.
and there's the colonnade.
Yeah.
As soon as I pushed the colonnade.
Yeah.
Oh, grumped out.
Hey, Grump. I don't even think I play a colonnade. I don't see any.
Nat had a tough. Nat got by the. Yeah, he was saying he was holding the fatal push for a while for a colonnade, then kind of was like, I guess I'll use it on the Snapcaster, and then colonnade just there's the colonnade top deck shortly after that, and that's the time when you really miss the fatal push.
Yeah. Against blue white, there's not a lot of targets for push. It's basically Snapcaster or Colonnade. But sometimes Colonnade just keeps coming in for 4, and you're like, I got answers, and you don't draw them. Liliana doesn't answer it. Abrupt Decay didn't. So yeah, that's why creature lands are so powerful. But game 2, it's going to be a rough one for Nat to win 2 games in the time we have allocated. A draw is not the worst if you can win 1 game. It still prizes out pretty well.
Yeah, I think you definitely. I think you're not getting 2 wins here. You are definitely playing for the draw on that side. I don't think there's any way unless Martin just keeps a terrible, terrible hand and. So
I mean, you could, if you're on the play, you have that sequence of like, turn 1 hand disruption, turn 2 like Goif, turn 3 planeswalker, maybe, yeah, or turn 3 hand disruption, second Goif.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Do you put rest in peace in if you're on Martin's side?
Oh, no. In Legacy, yes. In Modern, no.
Even though it's like it completely blanks, or it makes Ren and 6 like pretty bad.
Yeah, it makes Goif a chump blocker, makes Renin 6
Really bad. It makes
really
K command
bad.
medium.
But I feel like you're leaning on your Snapcasters a lot,
Hmm.
and having Snapcaster be relevant. Plus, you also have Mystic Sanctuary, and you're going to want to put, like, Mystic Sanctuary is so strong against cards that have hand disruption, because you can then just, your fetch land turns into a relevant card later in the game. I feel like those upsides are better. Like, everyone having a graveyard is better for you than no one having a graveyard. I think. That's my call, but you could argue otherwise.
I think that's fair. Yeah, that was an interesting, very swingy game where I really thought that when Nat had gotten rid of the Teferi and the Jace, I thought that then the game had completely swung in Nat's favor, and I thought we were going to see him run away with it. But we never saw a Bloodbraid Elf out of Nat, which is just like such a key card in the matchup.
Yeah, and also Nat had a bunch of cards like left in hand, and I don't think any of them were like relevant, like Kolaghan's Command,
Right.
or I think they may have been like a Maelstrom Pulse or something else, which
Right.
just some medium removal cards.
Can't hit a Colonnade.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough spot to be in. Nat also, we did not see Nat hit any cycling lands, so no nurturing peatland, no barren moors. So the Ren mana advantage was just kind of pretty blah. Um, it managed to get back Raging Ravine, I think at least once, but then
Yeah, I think
Ravine was never able to get in.
we could have leveraged that a little bit more efficiently, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, in chat, talking about shuffling time for matches. I feel like if you play a lot of Magic, especially modern Eternal formats with fetch lands, there's ways to verbally shortcut stuff that you can, like, shave like 5 minutes off of a whole match. If you're like, turn one, I'm gonna fetch for an Overgrown Tomb, show them a Thoughtseize, make your decision, fetch, get the land while your opponent's taking their turn. When it's not going to be relevant at all to what happens, for the game state, just being able to shuffle while your opponent is making decisions is a good way to shortcut a match.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, if a person wins game one and game two is a draw, it's 1-0-1, and the person with the one will win the match. And it looks like we got a sub a little bit ago, and I want to, shout out for that. Do you want to scroll up and see who threw us a sub there? It was a person that wanted to bring Mox Opal back.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, great. So I don't know if folks realize this or not, but we have a little bit of a sub goal thing going on. If we get 50 subs, everyone that's been a commentator here on Portland Paper for the past year, it will do karaoke that is flavored towards the deck that they play, and we'll live stream that.
Whoa.
And there'll
It
be
just keeps getting better. Oh.
There'll be some drinks involved.
We actually didn't shout out Mad Cow Chicken 3 for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you.
Oh, so it looks like Nat's Ooze ate a mana leak there, which I kind of would have liked casting the Ooze first to grow the Goyf if it's going to get countered, but maybe that won't matter. Seems like you're really rushing right now at this point because you have not a lot of time on the clock to get 2 wins or even 1 win.
Luciano, I think that I definitely seems like that first match was took a bit out of our players, so maybe that's part of it. Nat also is maybe trying to play quicker as well.
Oh, maybe Nat's practicing for his old school Chaos Orb games.
Yes. Okay, these are both good holdings for Nat. I think it just depends on what answers you have. If you've got a D-Sphere, yeah, I think you take the Bloodbraid Elf. So I believe this got Vendilion clicked, right? So this should not have gone to the yard. It just goes to the bottom.
That was a click, Nat? Yeah.
So have him put it, the Bloodbraid goes on the bottom of the library as well.
Bloodbraid's going to go on the bottom of your library.
There we go.
There wasn't an Narset on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, Nat able to draw off the V-click.
I do love clicking my opponents when there's an Narset in play.
Yeah, that's a very good interaction. And then you put Caracas in the mix, and it's a super good interaction. So we've got a 3 for Goyf. It's pretty small. Okay, there we go. There's a Nurturing Peatland. And Nat rips the Bloodbraid, another Bloodbraid off the top. That is what you want to see if you're trying to get this game ended.
I wonder if Nat was trying to bait like a cryptic.
You have to target if you're going to cast this push, right? So you just put it on the bottom. So kind of a sad cascade if you're Nat. That's not what you want to see there. It may be like that and Abrupt Decay are probably your worst possible hits here. Almost anything else is good. Gonna go ahead and logic knot for 2. We're still at only 3 card types in graveyard for the Goyf, which is a little uncommon.
Oh,
If you're on Martin's side, do you potentially think about snagging this Nurturing Peatland?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
And if I have some other interaction left up, if I'm only on like Cryptic, maybe not.
And it looks like Martin does have Cryptic.
Oh, chat was asking about streams. We are here every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time doing 4 rounds of Modern Magic the Gathering in the analog format with paper cards. We're also starting up doing some Legacy on Thursday at around 6:45. We got 3 rounds of Legacy that's been happening. Pretty fun stuff to watch. I got my butt kicked last week in the final rounds.
Definitely a slog. We're definitely, so I will update the clock. We're at 2.5 minutes of this game, so it's gonna be a quick sign off from your Portland paper crew here, as I think
We got the folks eyeing us.
yeah, we're getting looks. The store shut or closes up immediately after this event ends, and so sometimes when the final round goes to time, you kind of got some eyes on you to get your gear packed up and get moving. So we'll ride this out until the end, but once it ends, we'll just say our preemptive thank you all for coming to join the chat and watching our matches this evening.
And are you streaming after this, K-Pons? Are you still hanging out there watching? If you are streaming, give us a shout, and we'll try to do a whole raid or host thing.
So it's just the legacy event. We will try and cut those and put them online. It kind of falls to me if I've got the time during the week to post the matches on YouTube, but I will do my best to post those. I think we had 40 players tonight for Legacy. Oh, it looks like 36 players tonight for Modern.
I think there's 37. We had a buy that didn't get printed out there, but yeah, usually it floats anywhere between like 30 and like 80 or 90 when it's really good weather out, and Modern's in a healthy metagame.
Okay. Nat tosses the Lily out as bait and then plays the Goyf. I mean, if we're trying to get this match over, I can appreciate going for Goyf. I wonder if this earns the detention sphere that Martin has been saving.
You earn a detention?
Yeah, Goyf has earned detention. There's the Ravine. Maybe a little late. Field of Ruin is still available, so all right, Path on the Scoos. We've just hit time and round. So Martin's going to take this unless Nat can win it in the next 5 turns. Yeah, running the copy of Thrun the Last Troll is a fun way to.
Oh God, yeah,
a fun way to get blue-white, especially if you're playing something like Traverse the Ulvenwald to give yourself a greater chance of finding it.
Yeah, I've gotten got by that card, definitely. So I got to play the split, have Wrath of God in the 75 somewhere. Never know when you're going to run up against Thrun.
Yeah. Yeah, you're very, very rarely punished for running Supreme Verdict over Wrath of God in Modern.
I guess when Humans was really popular, a lot of lists split the Wrath effects just because of Meddling Mage.
Sure.
But, Humans isn't super big right now, so Verdict I feel like is more relevant, especially when there's like mid-range blue decks that are playing creatures.
Yes. So, looks like we're on 3. We've passed 4, I believe.
Oh, Terminus is great. I miss playing Terminus.
So I wonder if I wonder if Nat's gonna. Do we have a winning line here? Can we do anything? Okay, that's a thing to try. I think you're not winning this game by doing nothing, so you hope it resolves. And then I guess you need like the Goif to connect somehow through the colonnade, and then you need to bolt or something like that. Ooh, it's not easy. All right.
No guts, no glory, right?
I think we got last turn here. This is it.
Command, shoot you for 2 and get back
I like it. Nat tries it. It's counterbounce, and that'll do us. So Martin's going to take this one. Thanks everybody for joining us this evening, and we will be back next Monday for Modern Monday Guardian Games. Thanks y'all.